Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, hopefully we're going to be making some more good progress on the Wheelhorse Raider 9. Since the last video, we finished cleaning up the chassis, and we've done something with the paintwork. Now on some of the bigger panels, like this bit here, first of all there's quite a lot of original paint, which is nice. And what we've done is we've gone over it with cutting compound and polish, and that's come up quite smooth, and the paint looks quite nice. We also did a different thing up front here. You can see it all looks very shiny. And what we used was, we cleaned up and then we put a layer of this stuff on. Not fully sure how to pronounce the name of it. I'm going to go with Oatrol. Not fully sure. Be interesting to know if any of you people watching at home have heard or used this stuff before. But you can see we've lightly sprayed it over the tractor, and it gives it a nice shine, as well as being a rust inhibitor, and actually being heat resistant up to 175 degrees Celsius, which is a lot in Fahrenheit. So what we've found in the past with this stuff is it does need reapplying every 6 months, but for the moment it looks very good. You may recall in the previous video, when we were taking the steering apart, we found quite a lot of wear in this steering bracket, which has 2 holes in this one for the steering column, and the other one for this steering rod that goes from the quadrant to the front of the tractor. Now, this is not the actual one from the tractor, this is a spare one we have. And we tested this for wear as well, and this has quite a bit of wear. So we think that this is quite a standard problem for these wheel horses. So in response to that, we've got these 2 bushings here, which have an interior diameter of 3/4, and then outside diameter of 7/8. The only difference between them is the height. This one, I believe, is for this one, and then this for the other one. However, as you can see, that means drilling these out to 7/8. Now, the reason I'm showing you on this bracket rather than the original one, if you'll follow me, I'll show you, is we have set up the original one here on our Cincinnati mill, mounted to our mill angle plate that you may remember us unseizing and cleaning up in a previous video. We have set that up so that we can drill out the first hole. It's taken us an unbelievable amount of time to actually make sure this hole points directly upwards. However, we think we've lined it up now. And what we're going to do to start with is drill out a 13/16 hole in there, which is 1/16 of an inch less or smaller than 7/8, just so we can see how it drills, and then we'll move up to the bigger drill afterwards. To start with, we're going to try cutting at 490 RPM. We may change that, but we'll see. First, I'm going to put quite a lot of cutting oil on here. There we go. And we'll see how it goes. We've lowered the RPM right the way down now to about 100 RPM. We're also now using a like spray bottle for the cutting fluid, so that it's easier to apply while the drill is turning. What we would have liked to do ideally is to have a drill bit that's like 1 or 2% smaller than 7/8 and go through the hole with that, and then go through it with a 7/8 reamer afterwards. However, we don't have that drill bit, so what we've done is gone straight to 7/8, and we're checking every now and then that the hole isn't bad or isn't too big or anything like that, and we'll probably go through it with a 7/8 reamer afterwards. As you can see, we've taken the drill chuck out of the mill now, and we've replaced it with a Morse Taper 1 adapter, which we've got the 7/8 reamer in, which we're now going to go through the hole with. This hole is drilled out and ready to go now, and while this bush could probably just be tapped in, we'd prefer to do this in the press using an adapter that we're going to make up out of some of this 1-inch bar, which this piece of 1-inch bar started off 3 foot long, but we've used it for so many things that it's now this size, so we might be looking for some more inch bar soon. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn it down, or turn the end of it down in the lathe, so that it is 3/4 diameter to go inside the bush, and then this is deliberately wider than the outside diameter of the bush, so that when we're pressing it into here, once this becomes flush with the top of here, it won't go any further because this is wider and therefore won't go into the hole where the bush will go. And this seems to be turning into a bit of a Workshop Wednesday type thing, even though it isn't. We've now finished our adapter here for going inside the bush when we're pressing it in there. We've also drilled a hole in the bush there, which will line up to the grease nipple hole in the bracket, so the grease can get inside the bush. Now we're going to make sure we keep this for other future bushes of this size, because when we've made up these kind of tools before, we have just thrown them out, but with this one we'll actually be able to use it again. So what we've done, rightly or wrongly, is put the whole angle plate setup that we had on the mill directly onto the press, so that this is pointing directly upwards, and we'll see how that goes. This isn't this clamping setup isn't arranged for pressing, so we'll see if it moves at all, and if it does, then we'll change up the setup a bit, but we'll see how it goes. As an extra precaution, we've put a couple of plates under here across these two parts of the press to spread out the weight or pressure being put on the angle plate. We've also put a couple of these blocks under here just in case this block slides down at all. Hopefully it won't. And we're going to not put too much pressure on here. Hopefully we should be able to just gently do this and it will slide in. We fully pressed in the bush now, and we sanded this off so that this face was all dressed, and then that's at the same height, and then there's an angle here. We've also made that level to the actual bracket, and then we've done the same on this side, because at first we were going to leave this because we didn't think it would matter much. However, we put it up against here and realised that as the steering was turning, that would have fouled it. So that had to be sanded off. Now, the next thing that we'll need to be doing is the other one, which we've already tapped out the old bush. You can see what we meant by it being extremely thin, which obviously this is worn down, but still the original would have been quite thin as well. So we'll need to do pretty much the same process as the other one, drilling this out so that we can then press this new bush into place. And then once we've done that, because we've had so much cutting fluid and debris on this, we're going to do a full clean-up, make sure there isn't any trace of debris or cutting fluid by the time we're done with it. We are inside for post time, and we have a letter here. We haven't actually started the fire because it's quite hot today, but it's all ready to start just in case it cools down. So this is from New Jersey in America, and it is from Artie, and his YouTube channel is Gravelyman. Now he does some very interesting projects and has some gravelly walk behind machines, which we have not seen many of, and are very interesting. And he has sent us a couple of his stickers, which look very cool. Thank you very much, Artie, and make sure to go over and check out his channel, Gravelyman. As always, thank you very much, Artie, for the stickers. And for your convenience, we will leave the link in the description down below to Artie's channel, so you can easily go down there and check out his channel. Make sure to watch his videos, they're very interesting. But let's get back to the action outside. We're back from our sticker opening now, and we have the steering bracket mounted back in the mill vise, and we put our 7/8 drill bit in the drill chuck, and everything is lined up. So I'll just give this a quick spray of cutting oil, and let's get cutting. 7/8 drill is a bit worn because when we went through with the reamer, it took quite a bit off and left quite a nice finish. However, we've got the bracket on the press now, and we have set it up so that we can now press in the bush. With the other bush now fully in, we cleaned up the entire bracket and then put the grease nipple or grease zerk back on there. Now we've oiled up inside the bushings and we've then greased up both ends of the shaft here, and we're going to start the reassembly of the steering. We've also greased up the bottom of the steering column. I'm just going to try and get that end in first, which that's worked, but I'll just put the bolts in for that bracket and then we'll get back to you. We're jumping ahead a bit now. We've put the bracket in and just put the bolts in. They are loose still, just in case we need to move it a bit or pivot it a bit to get the steering column in, which is what I'm now going to try and do, which I'll have to lift this up a bit to actually get it to rest in there. We'll see if I can do this on my own or if I'll need a bit of a hand with it. There we go. That is starting to go in there. With a bit of assistance, we managed to get the steering column fixed in place, and then we fixed everything else up. And you can see there's absolutely no play there. No play in this shaft either. You can see that's the entire tractor moving. And we greased everything up. And now the steering feels incredibly smooth. I can easily steer this with one finger, and yet it still has zero play anywhere, so that is great. Before we started this job, in the previous video we mentioned about how we'd asked some people in the UK Wheelhorse Facebook group about if they had the same or a similar problem with the steering, and quite a few people said that they did have a lot of play in the steering, however found it a bit too difficult to actually do anything about it, so they left it. But now, having done it, we would say that it's well worth doing it and is actually not too difficult. Yes, we do have a mill and a press which helped out a lot with the job. However, I'm sure that the job could be done with some simpler workshop tools. If you were careful enough, I'd imagine you could use a battery drill to drill out the two holes. And then for pressing in the new bushes, I'm sure it would be possible with either a copper hammer, gently tapping it in, or even just putting it in a vise and slowly closing the vise to push the bush in. However, if you're in the UK and have a Wheelhorse with this problem and you don't feel you're able to or don't want to try and do this repair, but you still like the idea of getting it done, then please do get in contact with us. I'm sure we could help you out with it. But that's it for this video. Sorry for it being a bit of a long one, but we did quite a lot of machining work and stuff like that today. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.